Welcome to Real Health with me, Karl Henry. Folks, we've had our January toolkit. We've had Desi Fitzgerald, and it's around now. We thought we would really support you with a Q&A episode at the perfect time of year to keep you on track when things are getting difficult, when things are getting hard, when that diet that you're following that you know really doesn't do much for you is beginning to get really difficult. We're going to come to the rescue. Over the course of this episode, JJ, my wonderful producer, is here. He's the guy you don't see behind the scenes. He does most of the work. I'm very, very lucky that his notes are so good for our guests, and he's in studio to put the questions to us that come through on my Instagram time and time again. We see these questions all the time, and we're going to do this episode to get you through the challenges of this week. Because if we can hold on to these resolutions, to these changes, and adapt them, chances are you may just last over the course of the year, because it's hard now. The first couple of weeks is the honeymoon phase, and then it gets difficult. But fear not, we've got 5 top questions that we're going to have a look at, and with some simple answers and simple go-to actions that are going to make a big, big difference to your New Year's resolutions this year. And as ever, keep an eye on my social media accounts, @KarlHenryPT. We do Q&As there all the time, and we look at the stuff that comes through. And the really popular stuff, we make a note, I text JJ, so this is a popular question, and we'll do these kind of episodes every now and again. So if you haven't done my Q&A there, come on, you can pop your questions in there. Sometimes I'll answer them in person, and sometimes I'll hold them for the podcast, but we'll see how we go. JJ.
Well, how are you getting on? Very good. Yeah.
So fair play. We've had a busy opening couple of weeks of the year for our listeners.
Right.
We've had our six
January toolkit. Yeah.
Toolkit episodes that have gone down really well.
Yeah.
Desi was amazing.
Last week's episode, yeah.
Absolutely.
Starting the year off right.
Very important.
Yeah.
It's great.
And we're 3 weeks into January now, in and around. And so the first listener question that we have, it was top of the list. I always fall off the wagon after 3 to 4 weeks. How can this year be different? So same for me. I'm feast or famine. I'm motivated. I'm all, hell bent on, doing exercise, having a clean diet. And then I fall off. Like, how can you get past this?
It's the reason we're here this week, isn't it? Because we know the trajectory of January is always like that. Right, it is the first 2 weeks people tear into it. They do whatever diet is trendy. There's a lot of stuff going around at the minute. Keto's kind of back in fashion, coming from the States, and there's a lot of milkshakey stuff going on too. So the honeymoon phase is over. I suppose what it comes back to at this time is the why. It's why you're doing it. That's the really key bit. So you need to spend time looking at that and really having a really good, strong reason to go to the gym, to eat healthier, to, park the car further away and walk a bit more. That's the really key bit here. So it's identifying the reason behind the changes. If it's, I'm going to get healthy in January, no one really believes that. You don't believe that.
It's a bit vague.
It's very vague, yeah. And vague just doesn't cut it. It's something that we look for with clients all the time. It's like, okay, why are you coming in? Why are you coming in the door? You want to pay me some money? That's fine, but why? And you have to get to the real reason. And that's what keeps people going. So if you haven't done it yet, don't worry, don't panic. It's not too late. You can still do it. But get a pen and paper, put some nice music on, get a cup of tea. Why do I want to get healthy this year? And it can't be just because. It has to be, I'm getting married, or I've got a holiday coming up, or I can't run around after my kids, I'm exhausted, or I'm so stressed after work, I'm a nightmare at home. They're all reasons people can associate with. So once you have that, then you look at what you've done so far. Is it sustainable, or is it another kind of rapid, quick fixy diet? If it is, put the diet to one side, go back into our back catalogue. We've got this is year 7. We've nearly 400 episodes in there. There are food eps in there that will give you exactly what you need to do. But in a very quick summary, it's 12-hour window, 1 big food shop a week, loads of water, protein with each meal, breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. If you do those 3 things, that's it. That'll do it. And make sure that it's balanced, that there is still a treat, takeaway, or a drink, or some chocolate, or whatever. Because that's balance. That's important. From an exercise perspective, you have to enjoy it. We know that. If you're going to the 6 a.m. spin class and you don't like getting up at 6 a.m. or whatever time, don't go. because you're not going to go and you're wasting your money, so don't. That's important too. And that also, it fits into your diary, right? So there's no point in trying to do 5 sessions a week. If you are really busy, you might get 1. If 1 is achievable, stick with 1.
Right.
So like that tends to be what happens when people fall off the wagon. There's too much, it's too hard, it's unrealistic, and it's not right for that person. It's not the right fit.
Yeah.
So they look at all the different aspects of it, and it all comes back to the reasoning of it, and also making that reason visual, having that goal somewhere that you can see it. So for me, I fasted out and back this year. It's something that scares the bejesus out of me, but I see it. I have it. I have it tattooed on my arm, but also I have it on my wall. I see it's something I see time and time again. So it just keeps me on to get to the pool or to eat my protein requirements or whatever, because I have a really good reason to do it, and that's the most important thing of all the resolutions, is having the right reason.
And second up, this is an interesting one. Can I make my bum smaller?
Oh yeah, we get this all the time. You should see
How much are we talking
some
here?
of the questions we get on Instagram, but like we get loads of this. Can I make my boobs smaller? Can I make my bum smaller or bigger? Can I spot reduce my my left toe and like mad stuff? No is the answer. No. You can't just spot reduce. Can you change the size and shape of your bum? Absolutely you can. Of course you can. But it's more than just doing bum exercises. You can't just pick your bum and say, I'm only going to tone my bum. Because everything else is going to tone with it or shape or get stronger with it.
Yeah.
So there's a bit more work in it, right? So it is important to say that first of all, bodies will lose weight or will change as the body requires. That's genetic predisposition. It'll control that. No matter what every Instagram trainer tells you, that's nonsense. The body will control what changes and how it changes. Genetics are really important. For glutes, it's full body exercises. So it's not just doing glute work like step ups or pelvic thrusts or whatever, or bum kicks. It's doing full body routines. The whole body has to work as a whole unit, and having leg work and bum work within that program. That's it. It's as simple as that. And then obviously change, if it's reducing it in size, calorie deficit, fat loss.
Right.
Of course it is. And it's maintaining your muscle as you go through that fat loss phase. So smart scales will do that. You get a sense of how much muscle you've got. Keep that amount of muscle. If that muscle is dwindling as you lose weight, you up your protein intake. But and then it's a combination of from an exercise perspective, of resistance training, walking, obviously, or general daily movement, and cardiovascular work. Stair climbers are great. Stairs are brilliant for bums. You want a better bum, climb a stairs. It's about like, you go to a gym and do it, but like stairs are high step ups. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Two steps at a time on a stairs. Brilliant.
Oy.
Great glute workout.
That is a workout, and the Stairmaster is a killer. It's a nightmare. Just with the, I suppose, the resistance training, there's a legs. Everyone does like legs if they're in the gym. They do it once a week. Are they doing it more than once a week, or is that enough?
Once is plenty. The way weights have gone now, there is a thing of, I'm doing split routines, and like that's all fine if you're single and you've no kids and you have time to do your split routines like a bodybuilder. That's fine, nothing wrong with it. But most people, you don't have to train that way. You can do 1 gym session and do all the body parts in one go, or 2 gym sessions if you have time, or 3 if you have time. But you can do the full routine in that session, and that's how we would generally train clients. That we'd work everything in that 1 45-minute session. That's it. There's enough, and then they top it up with rest, food, movement, and cardio on top of that.
Yeah.
But minimum of 1 resistance training. And even from a walking perspective for your bum, hills are brilliant. Hill walkers have great bums. There we go, I said it. But they do, because they climb hills, and therefore the glutes are doing far more work. So hills are brilliant, stairs are brilliant. They'll make a big difference, or step ups on a high wall or high bench. Really good.
Class.
Yep.
And then question number 3. This one is, I've been told to cut out carbs and eat 1,200 calories a day. Calories, that is. Should I?
No, to both of those questions. So carbohydrates are your energy source. We need carbohydrates. That's what they do. They give us energy. There are great carbohydrates and not so great carbohydrates. You balance that out. The really good ones are your brown sources. So brown rice, brown pasta, brown bread, brown wraps, Brown rolls, for most people, they're the best ones to go for. They're more fibrous and they're better in quality and they don't bloat out quite as much. But they give you your energy source, and that's really important. By cutting them out, you're losing weight rapidly. Absolutely you are. You will lose water, loads of it. It's why Atkins was so popular as a diet. Can I say that? I can say that. Is because that once you reduce your carbohydrate intake, you would lose rapid amounts of weight very quickly because you're losing water.
Right.
It's water. Call a spade a spade. It's not fat mass, it is water. So, no, you need your carbohydrates. So porridge, for example, great carbohydrate. Brown bread toast, brown bagels, brilliant. Keep them in, but moderate them. So how do you do that? You look at your plate. A quarter of your plate is your carbohydrate source, unless you're running marathons or doing really long swims or long endurance exercise. So a quarter of your plate is what we're aiming for. At dinner, at lunch, it's a quarter. So if your lunch is a wrap or whatever, for most people, you're looking at a quarter of whatever you're eating is the carbohydrate source.
Yeah.
Keep it.
And just with that, I'm always interested in this. Is that roughly a spud? Is it like 2 spuds? Depends on
part of the country.
Yeah.
They stack them then in West Cork. So if you think of it's about a spud, or depending on the size, it's 1 or 2 spuds on a plate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's about a fistful portion of rice or
Gotcha
chips
that. Yeah.
or pasta. That's a normal portion size. So
Yeah.
spag bol is your dinner. Great. Every now and again have a bigger portion of pasta, but it should be, you should be loading up on the ball version of it and less spaghetti, because it's the volume of carbohydrates. Our muscle cells have basically fuel cells. They fill up with carbohydrates, and the excess you will store as body fat, and that's where the body fat mass comes from. And that's important. Where a protein, you won't do that. But never, ever, ever, unless you have epilepsy, and I can say that because of personal experience of it, or there are certain other conditions where a GP or a consultant will recommend a keto diet. That's fine, but bar that, stick to your carbohydrates and keep them. But they're a quarter of your meal times, not more. The 1,200 calories, no, it's still in fashion. It's been in fashion for a while. No, that's teenager quantities of calories now. That's very low.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Like, I mean, if you try it for a day, even you're just like,
You're
I am
exhausted.
so hungry, fatigued, I can't work out.
Now there is a difference, right? What I will say about the calorie thing is the quality of the food. So like 12, you should be having 1,200 calories. You should be bringing it up first of all. So bring it up 1,600, 1,700, 1,800, even up to 2,000. Like I have a client at the minute, and his calorie RDAs are 2,400 because he's a big guy. So like he's loads of food. But he can take it because we know how much muscle he has, and we've worked out his basal metabolic rate. So if you put BMR calculator into Google, put in your numbers, and it'll give you your calorie burn roughly, and it'll give you a really good indicator of what you're burning up. The quality of those calories is important. So there is a train of thought, or on social particularly, that 1,600 calories of McDonald's is the same as 1,600 calories of...
Calories a calorie, that idea.
Yeah, it is, but it's not.
Yeah, if it fits your macros, is a bonkers.
It is,
idea.
right. So like a calorie is so yeah, you can have three Big Macs for 1,600 calories, probably, roughly. 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunch, 1 for dinner. But if you look at the volume of that, if you try and have 1,600 calories of normal food, 3 eggs for breakfast with a whole grain bagel, like that's probably 400 calories, maybe 425, something like that. Lunch, again, your protein source. By reducing the carbohydrate down, you get more bulk, more volume, more fiber. And that's really important. So, no. But BMR calculator into Google, run your numbers. That gives you your basal metabolic rate. That's about 70% of what you're outputting every day. Add 30%, to your output, give or take. And then to lose weight, you put a calorie reduction in on that, but it shouldn't be any lower than 1,600 or 1,700. If it is, it's too low.
Right.
And if someone's putting you on that, I'm sorry, but they're a charlatan. They're literally trying to get your money and get you in and get you to lose weight quickly so you can give them more money. And then once you start eating properly, you're putting the weight on. So it's restrictive eating, it's disordered eating. It's not. A proper health professional would never do it, ever. They just wouldn't. So it is important to think if someone is trying to sell you that, is that really where you want to spend your money? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I always find if a diet has a timeline on it, and if it leads with the timeline, 6-week turnaround, you should...
Or I'm looking for 4 fit dads or 4 fit whatever or 4 busy whatever. Yeah. No, run. Because the reason to run from that's all coming from a mentorship program, one of several mentorship programs who are churning out PTs with this system of how to do things. It's all It's not great. And I
Right.
happily say that because I've looked into it and it isn't a great way of doing it.
Yeah.
So steer clear of all that.
Yeah, it's a social media sales funnel, really.
As JJ gives you the look and say,
Yeah.
be quiet.
yeah,
It is a sales funnel, and it is, and it's all coming. They're all doing the same thing, and I have a huge problem with it because they're preying on people's insecurities, even in terms of how the product is done, how the product is sold. You've got to apply into it. There's a whole system of psychological, systematic kind of purchasing in that it really, they're preying on your insecurities. I would not spend my money there.
Okay, and
Soapbox.
yeah, stepped off. And number 4 is, am I too old to lift weights?
No, never. Okay, when you lift weights, you put the body under pressure. So you force the muscle to get stronger because it's under pressure to strengthen. You strengthen it after the exercise with protein, and then that protein synthesizes into stronger muscles. No matter what age you are, that can happen. Whether you're 80, the oldest time we ever had in our gym was 86. She'd do her squats and her lunges and her bicep curls and her wall squats. Amazing. She was brilliant. And I've seen that with people with their DEXAs. We not just muscular, but from a bone perspective, we can strengthen bones at any age. We can make muscles stronger at any age. There's nothing we can't do. So you're never too old to pick up a weight, and any weight bearing movement that you do will keep you stronger and help you to live longer.
Yeah, and I mean, even just if you look at some of the compound movements, like, RDL or a squat or anything like that, that mimics real life. So if your toddler grandson runs at you and he's 25 kg and wants to be lifted up above your head, that's a weight.
We have people coming in for that reason, right? They can't lift their grandkids, or they're in water babies and they can't lift their child, and it's the best call to action. Why are you coming in? Because I can't lift my child in water babies. Brilliant.
Class.
Brilliant. And the difference, we have a 79-year-old lady who comes in. She's fabulous. She's now bending up to pick up the logs off the floor. She's never been able to do it. It's amazing. After 10 weeks, she can bend down and grab a log and pick it up, put it in the fire. It's incredible. And you're a lot younger than I am. It's in your 40s you begin to see that decline of people who don't do it, who don't do the strength stuff. Their movement starts to get restricted. They can do less. And it's fascinating to watch, but you can improve it at any age. That's important.
Righto. And then finally, we've had a number of sleep experts on during the year. This listener is wondering, any sleep tips?
Loads. We love sleep. So we've been lucky enough to have some of the best on over the course of the last couple of years. First of all, sleep is the foundation of everything. As anyone with young kids will know, you're exhausted all the time. It affects your decisions, your movement, everything. It makes everything so hard. It is where your body recovers. It's where your mind recovers. It's where you de-stress from the day, and it's really important. How do you improve it? Loads of simple tips. One is the environment that you walk into. When we talk to our corporate clients, we always say that your bedroom should remind you of that spa experience. If I say the word spa in a wellness center,
yeah, right? Sort of lit candles everywhere. Yeah,
automatically you relax, right? Because you're it's relaxed, it's clean, it's got low lighting. It's I go there to relax. Well, your bedroom should be that space. If your bedroom's chaos, good luck. There's no way you're sleeping in that. So organising it. Low light's important. Tom Coleman was telling us all about that. That idea of table lamps. When I'm a child of the 80s, I grew up with table lamps in my house, and now I know why. Because they get the light below eye level, and your bedroom should be the same. The big lights shouldn't be on. That's important. A new mattress, if you haven't got one in the last 6 or 7 years, buy a new mattress. I'm not affiliated to any brand, but it is so important, and a really good spend the money. Spend it.
Yeah.
Just spend it. Get the money for it and get a really good one, because the difference it makes is incredible. Caffeine close to bed, absolute no. After 4 o'clock, no caffeine. Go decaf after that. If your mind's racing, you get a to-do list and write things down and take ownership of that. And then it's a process. We're no different to children as adults. We have a process of sleep and a pattern of sleep.
Okay.
And identify that pattern, because it might be watching TV for 20 minutes, reading a book, and then going to sleep. Or whatever your pattern is, stick to it, because the pattern keeps you going. And the final piece on that is the big lion at the weekend is a no-no. It's an hour. An hour beyond your normal wake time. Beyond that, you are upsetting your circadian rhythm.
Right.
So that's something I fear. it's not the fear of work. It's the fact you've had a big lie-in on Sunday morning.
Yeah. And
You're just not tired. Like,
Yeah.
your circadian rhythm is totally out of sync. And that'll make a big difference. And the darkness is crucial. A dark space, like where my bedroom is, I love sleeping with the window open, but like the moon comes in, and on a full moon, like it basically lights up the whole room. So bright spaces are never good. Dark spaces are brilliant.
I have one more on that. I think a lot of people, that I know will listen to a podcast when they're going to bed, and it'll always be sort of light listening, and they'll put it on a half an hour sleep timer so that it'll knock off after half an hour. What's your advice there? Do I chuck it out completely?
Yeah, my wife does that. I don't. I'm so tired by the time I hit the bed.
What she does, you do, basically.
Yeah. She listens to a story or a podcast or whatever before, but that's just part of her rhythm of one, or a meditation thing or whatever. That's the stress of living with me. That's the reason she needs that, obviously.
Coping.
Yeah, absolutely. But if that's part of your routine, fine. Personally, no. Read as much as you can is important. The gratitude piece, Robert Kelly was chatting to us about that. I think that is important, that review of your day when you go to bed is nice, that you can review, what went really well today. Almost as part of being mindful of your day and being thankful. And there's something in that kind of almost mental journaling of reviewing your day and what was great. There's something in that too. But if a podcast is your thing before bed, that's absolutely fine too. It wouldn't be mine, but again, that's everyone's kind of different rhythm or different routine. There's a routine to it, But sleep is crucial. Focus on it, and the mattress is a really good. It's an expensive January recommendation, but one that you'll get 7 years out of. So
yeah, good investment. That's our lot.
As ever, fantastic, JJ. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
We really hope you enjoyed today's episode of Real Health. Our Q&As always go down really well, so we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to rate and review. Every rating and review makes a big difference, so thank you very much if you've done it. If you haven't, go on and rate and review. Thanks a million. You know where we are, at Karl Henry PT on Instagram, realhealth@independent.ie, and on the Irish Independent website. And we'll see you next week for more Real Health. Slán go bhfuil.